Greetings once again. I've got an adventure for you today in this video, and I brought some friends with me. I brought one of my friends, my good friend that I play with role-playing games all the time and have for the last few years. He'll be controlling one of the characters in this particular Stronghold battle. We've probably got some combat. It may be inevitable, but we'll see. And I also have one of my sons. He is going to be playing with us as well. So this is not really a solo RPG session. This is more like a Forbidden Lands actual play RPG session. And hopefully the audio that I have set up, you'll be able to hear what they say well enough. And if not, I'll add subtitles or figure out how to work sound stuff. So say hello, guys.
Hey, everyone.
He's going to be controlling Keesh, and then there was the one I stepped on, my son. My son's going to be controlling Jarren. Say hey, Jarren.
Hello, how's it going, everybody?
Okay, so we've got a little bit to catch you up on here. In this video, primarily we'll be looking at a problem that we came across, our characters came across in our Stronghold. I'm going to get my map here. This is a map that I've been coloring with the markers my daughter bought for Christmas for me. But I'm going to point, and my two buddies can't see this at all, but that's where our Stronghold is. And Luca's Fort, which was the last Stronghold battle and some of the RP sessions that I did solo, that's down here. But we're here, and what we've got is a Stronghold encounter that came up on a random die rolling. Snafu, I guess I could call it that. It was a 66. That's the Orc Chieftain, to where basically the Orc shows up with 50 Orcish warriors and demand 4d6 in gold. And I rolled 20 on that, so that's a lot of gold. And also fealty to this particular Orc Chieftain. And so I was like, man, I don't know if I want to pay that much gold. Let me talk to my friends and my son and see what they say. And I don't know that they want to. They may not care. I'm looking at one of them's faces right now on the screen to my right. Maybe he cares, but probably not as much as I do. I don't want to pay 20 gold to these orcs. And so it seemed like there was going to be another session where we had another Stronghold encounter, a Stronghold battle. But we do have a couple of characters in our party that communicate really well. And one of them is Keesh, and he will be played tonight by my friend here. So Keesh is going to deal with Thukar, the orc leader, and I'll give you a little bit of info on Thukar here in a second. But Keesh will be dealing with him shortly. Our characters they're literally 1 day away from completing the ramparts in our Stronghold. And we really need those ramparts to help defend our Stronghold. So I'll get to some of that. I've got it written down here. You can see it on the screen. The attackers, the defenders, and then the PC encounters. How will that work in a Stronghold battle? And we'll do that shortly if the negotiations go as most orc negotiations go, poorly and violent. But anyway, we'll see how they play out. We'll let Keesh do some of that here in a second. Anyway, so Thukar, that is the leader of this particular group of orcs. Now, for those of you that have never heard of Sweden Rolls, that is a podcast that I found a while back, and they're based out of Stockholm. Everything they do, as far as I can tell, is in English. I might be mistaken there. There might be a couple of games they play from Free League Publishing, and they may do some in Swedish. But the one, I can't speak Swedish, so I I listened to the ones in English, and they had a few sessions in one of their earlier seasons where they fought against some of the Roka clan orcs, and Thukar was one of their names. And so this is a nod to Sweden Rolls. I'm using the name that they originated. I do not think at all that it's going to be exactly like the orc that they portrayed. So Thukar is the name of one of General Arka's sons, who potentially may take his place as the ruler or leader of the Roka clan orcs. So that's who we're dealing with. They come to our Stronghold on the 18th of Springwain. They show up, demand money, demand fealty, and that happens in the morning of the 18th. And so some of our PCs begin to complete the ramparts as they surround our Stronghold. And Keesh, the halfling peddler. Now, I would like my friend to describe what Keesh looks like and maybe give a little bit of a rundown, and hopefully you'll be able to hear well enough as he describes. So just real quick, give us, what does it look like as Keesh, the halfling peddler, walks towards the massive leader of this orc group, who is demanding to speak to the leader, is demanding to speak to whoever is in charge of this place. All right, go ahead.
Well, it's unfortunate that Keish's typically suave gait is a bit thrown off by the fact that he's now toting more than his usual knife. He's now got a hand axe and a large shield that, relative to his bodily proportions, is something of a tower shield. But
right,
do what you must as the situation calls for. So he's walking out there. He's got, probably from being in the stronghold and out away from, I guess, what we would call relative civilization. It looks a bit like how you could expect the closest thing to a used car salesman in fantasy terms.
Yeah.
So got the little wooden toggles up the front of his tunic that's covered with leather armor, but it used to look nice when it wasn't so tarped down with more practical things. So he's a little bit out of his element coming out here. He's used to peddling things, fixing them up, talking them up a good game, and selling them in the next town over.
Nice.
The stakes are a little higher these days.
Yep. Okay. And I've got, let's go ahead and let's set that scene. So it's the morning quarter day. The orcs surround the stronghold, and Thukar steps forward and demands in his deep, rumbling bass voice. You can see he's wearing his chainmail. He's got this massive axe slung over his shoulder, a great helm that he's also taken off and holding, underneath, carrying in his arm. And he demands to speak to the leaders here. And we decide, okay, we're building. He hates. It doesn't mention orcs hating halflings. It does mention in the books that they hate just about everybody else. So, and we've got humans and half elves and wolfkin and all that in our stronghold. And so we decide to send the halfling out there. As you approach, you're standing. I don't know how many feet it'd be away. Maybe I could say 30 feet to 40 feet. Not too far to where you have to holler across the way, but yeah, you're a good distance. They're not approaching to attack and kill just yet. They want to see, are you going to meet our demands? And so how does this conversation go as you guys are talking 30 feet away? Thukar, whoa, he's got that deep guttural voice, how does Keesh return and speak back to him? What is Keesh going to go with? How's he going to communicate?
Oh man. Okay, his little bit of a high voice, and he he walks out and he gets close to him and says, I deeply regret to inform you that we've honestly, very clearly, we don't have a whole lot going on here. We've got you see, you ask for tribute, for payment.
And then he interrupts right there and says, payment. He's, deep. You can barely understand him. His tusks are massive, and he's speaking the common language, but you can tell he struggles with it, and interrupts and says payment, and shakes his head yes.
Yeah. Keesh rubs his clammy palms together and yeah. So you see, if we had any to offer you, that would be on the table, of course. But out east, we got people who've already come. They've already trounced us and taken us for what we're worth. We don't have a whole lot there.
Okay, at this point,
we have some to offer.
Okay, you're lying through your teeth. So let's do what kind of mechanic is that in Forbidden Lands?
Okay, so I mean, there's a straight manipulate roll. To make him believe what I'm saying. Now, did I get out? Did he get out? Like, you can scout there if you'd like.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Does he get that?
He knows.
Okay.
He knows what's east, and he knows how far he wants to mess with east. So yeah, I'm looking at the Path of Lies as well.
So Keesh is, I guess, I don't know if everyone knows Keesh's talents, mechanically speaking.
Yeah, he's got a couple. Pack Rat, Path of Lies, and he's a manipulator, that's for sure. This is truly his debut. He almost got into a fight in the Demon Realm a couple of videos ago, but this is definitely his most. He's front and center right now. So yeah, how is it? You're lying. So what are we going to do to make that lie? That's definitely a roll here of some sort.
Yeah. So I think that'll be a manipulate roll, if I may, to try to. So the attempt is to manipulate them to believe that our stronghold doesn't have a whole lot going for it right now in terms of what spoils could be gained.
Okay.
But what we could offer them if we're no longer owing tribute to those out east, basically we've already got people bigger than them that we owe. So if they could take care of them, we'd be happy to pay the same tribute.
Okay. Yeah.
That's sort of the angle.
So that is, looking at rank 2, you can roll first, and if you fail, you can use the talent. Yeah. As long as you spend a willpower point, and you do have those to spend. All right. So this is manipulate versus his insight. Is that correct?
He's not particularly insightful. Now, help me build my dice pool here real quick.
Yeah, so manipulate is an empathy, so you'll use your empathy attribute dice. That'll be however many white. So what's your empathy? 5?
Yeah.
So 5 white dice. And then manipulation is going to be that skill. That's going to be red dice. And if you want me to roll, I have them sitting in front of me. I don't know how you feel about somebody else rolling for you.
I got them.
Okay. All right. Versus his insight. And he's got... I have that in front of me here on a card as well.
All right. So, sorry, 5 white dice. I've got those 5 white dice, and what?
Your manipulation has a 3 in it. Is that correct?
Okay. Yep. So that's 3 red.
And then that's it. You don't have any gear dice or equipment here. So, yep, that's it. All right. So you'll roll and tell me how many successes you get.
All right. Okay, I've got 2 successes.
Okay, now on your white dice, do you want to push that?
Okay, so I've got a success. I've got a 1 and a 6 on each.
Okay.
Red and white.
Okay, so your 1 will freeze on the white dice. Your 1 on the red doesn't matter. You can re-roll that. So if you push it, you're going to take damage to your empathy. But you could potentially make this a better deal if you choose to do so. But the way Path of Lies read, you've got to fail this first. So really, you don't have to push it because he's got to fail it before you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me build his pool. He's got that of empathy. I'm not going to say it out loud so my friend doesn't know what he's dealing with. And here's the skills that he's got listed. So I rolled 1 success, and he's not going to push. So the lie succeeds. So you tell him you don't have any monetary value here. And then he says, what you got, people? Which is basically hard to understand. But you've got people. And you know that orcs take slaves.
Yeah.
And that's very valuable to him.
Well, I guess Keesh would be reluctant to try to delve into any nuance with an orc.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Oh yeah, people too. I mean, they're taking people over there too. I mean, we don't have a whole lot to send your way if we're sending people to them too.
You see him kind of looking and kind of counting with his axe. You know, he's definitely counting. And he says, I come back tonight. He tells you he's going to come back tonight. And he backs away. Okay, the social encounter is over. Keesh comes back. That's the morning, or that's the day, quarter day. Evening comes, At the end of evening, we'll have the ramparts built. So we want to not have them attack during the evening. If they attack, we want it to be at night, at least. Okay, so can you stall them past the evening of the 18th? That's the next question. Jarren, you are also available at this point if you want to be together. However, Jarren is an Elven Spring half-elf. That's it. Would you like to describe him real quick?
Sure, yeah. So, very similarly to how a medieval jester or, I guess jester, kind of court jokester would look. Very vibrant colors, probably fairly caked with mud at this point. So the once kind of hot, bright pink is now kind of a dirty brown. His hair is kind of a dirty blonde that curls down to just above his shoulders. Used to be probably a well-kept beard. He's kind of let it go ever since they moved into the Stronghold, and he kind of got kicked out of the city that he pestered for so long.
Okay.
But yeah, Jarren is a minstrel, and he creates poisons just as much as he creates song.
Nice.
So he has two passions, and sometimes they can both be fairly brutal.
Okay, yes. He's the path of the song, poisoner talent, and then psychic power are his talents as far as I remember. I don't have your character sheet in front of me. Okay. But, okay, so it's the evening of the 18th. And at the end of the evening quarter day, the ramparts will be built. So can you stall Thukar long enough for these ramparts to be built? Otherwise, they will be attacking with 5 offensive attacker dice for the Stronghold battle, and we will be defending with 3 if they attack tonight. Now, if they decide to wait us out or whatever, we don't know what they're going to do. You guys don't know. So Thukar comes back, and he's impatient, and you see he has a couple of things to say about East, and says he's not interested in dirty goblins. He's not interested in dirty goblins. He says he wants humans, the dirty elves, the dirty half-elves, and dwarves, if you've got any dwarves. We always want dwarven weapons. He mentions that and says, what do you have to offer? Since you don't have gold, because he believes you, he demanded 20 gold, but you can tell they want to attack and take everything. So that's how it starts. Do you want to take Jarren? Do you want to be with Keesh when this comes up?
How much would Jarren know about the tension between orcs and elves?
Oh yeah, you would know that.
A lot?
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
Probably not, then.
Okay, so you're holding back.
We'll leave that one alone.
Okay, yeah, orcs, everyone in Forbidden Lands has reasons to hate and not like everyone else. So it's Keesh again and Thukar. Okay.
Right. Now, you're a very smart orc.
Lie. That's a lie.
These goblins, I hate them as much as you do. I mean, look at me. Look at me. People look at goblins. You can't live with them, and that's all I have to say about that. Over to the east, the goblins, they're going to come tomorrow morning. They're going to come. They normally come a little after sunrise, maybe a couple hours after sunrise. But you see where that river crosses by the mountain pass, there's a little narrow ravine. And just above that, there's a cliff. We've never had enough people to really stage any sort of a hold against them.
All right, he says, we don't want goblins. We want you.
No, but the goblins are going to come and cut us up.
Okay.
The goblins are going to come and take a group out of, or maybe, if we hold off and say, no, we're holding out for these orcs, we're with these guys now. They're gonna cut us up.
All right.
They're gonna take out of your spoils. You're not gonna have as many slaves to take with you.
All right.
The goblins are gonna get first. They're quick. They're nasty little feet. They're quick.
He turns and says, "We take you now." And you hear a whole bunch of them beat their axes on their shields, and they've got flails, and they start hitting them. I mean, the place is surrounded, and now they're like, well, we should go now then.
That backfired.
Okay, all right, he's banging on his shield. He puts on his helmet, and he looks at you and points his axe and says, he calls you, little halfling, and says, since you don't have gold, we take people. You give people? He's asking you a question now. We're going to take them unless you're going to give them. What do you say?
How many you need?
All right, that stumps him for a second because he he doesn't do math well. It stumps him for a second, and you can kind of tell he's like, well, all of them is what he wants to say, because that's what he wants. And he kind of tilts his head to the side, looks at a guy to the left, and motions him over. And he comes over to him, and they discuss briefly. And he says, how many do you have?
Well, it all depends. He says you don't want goblins, so that means you don't want people my height, right?
You're not a goblin.
Well, you said you don't want goblins, but you don't want my height. You want someone, big that can serve as... They're strong enough to really help you as a slave. What kind of work you doing?
All right, he looks at his buddy again and says, we want all of them. Now he's saying we want all. How many do you have? We want all of them.
Oh, so you want the goblins too?
All right, now you're confusing him. Okay, how long?
A lot of stout goblins coming in here just tomorrow morning.
How long will this? Tomorrow morning. All right. Okay, so there's the lie.
Yeah, the goblins are coming tomorrow morning. He already laid the groundwork for that.
So there's more coming, right? Okay, so that's going to be the lie. So make that roll again, because you see, once he says that, he realizes everyone in there and some. So now he's getting greedy. So we'll see how well this works. I'll go ahead and, since I know his insight, and roll it. So you've got to build your dice pool. White, empathy. Yeah. Red, manipulation. So you should have
5 white, 3 red.
Yep.
I've got no ones. I've got 3 successes.
Okay, so you leave it there, because if you fail, you can spend the willpower point. And you do succeed. He knocks off one of those successes because he rolled 1-6. So you have 2 successes on the deal. And so you see he and a buddy begin to talk. And now you think he's going to wait for the goblins. He turns and asks, did goblins come tomorrow?
Yeah, a couple hours after sunrise.
All right. He sends a couple of scouts around to the side, and they go. And you can tell they're unhappy that they're waiting for these goblins to get here. They do set up a siege, like surrounding the siege. They're laying siege to this place. They set up encircling, there we go, the entire place. And you can tell they're set up over the next couple of hours to also watch for that ravine near the river along the side that you were discussing. And they wait. So I was afraid they were going to just charge. Once you started getting simple math in there, we're like, wait, you mean more? Then okay, that'll work. So, but they're not going to wait very long, I'll tell you that, after that. So that's the 18th. 18th, the 9th, or the nighttime quarter day comes, and of course some people stay up and do watch, the old school RPG watch, which is a homebrew setting that I think I like better the way I've got it set than the game shows, and we can talk about that later. But let's get to the 19th, which is the morning quarter day. That comes. Go ahead.
It was just that previous evening, right? That was all we needed to wait through?
The evening, correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So the ramparts are built.
Okay. I thought for a second, I was like, wait, was it the following evening?
No.
Okay.
The 19th.
Sure, mission accomplished.
Yeah.
Keesh,
so
high five yourself.
The ramparts are completed because the orcs are greedy. And now the well will be completed on the evening of the 19th if we live that long. So, so the morning comes and it...